Okay, so a little bit about the topics for today. So we're going to do kind of a little bit of a review in some ways, like putting a lot of some of these other pieces, that I've talked about in the past, from like a year ago, over a year ago. Is it starting to make more sense about how things, fit together? So we're going to talk about the wings of Asclepius, the healer archetype of our avatar, light body template, Mars, Venus, and Pluto, the dark matter zygote, and the eight original cells, that uh, you know that remain there, the correct tree of life instead of the 10 tree grid, or the fallen tree of life, as they call it, or black tree of life, as it's going to be referred to. Uh, do a little bit of a review of the 13 Zodiac system, the alchemical law influences, the changes to our bodies, that we may be feeling. Because I really feel like things are really amp up now with the physical body changes. And so um, some of them can be painful. There's no two ways around it, because it's trying to clear our bodies, and there are different alchemical themes and influences that go along with each of the 13 zodiac signs. And then I'll just talk a little bit about the harmonizing to the new oscillations of consciousness, which has to do with um, like different brainwave states in a sense. Uh, but anyway, we'll get into that a little bit more. So the meditation intention is to clear and dissolve karmic patterning from the tropical zodiac system and harmonize to our true sidereal zodiac system. Again, that's always been there. Like now that I'm seeing it, it's like it was always there. And so now, as we can get through the muck and muck, it's been kind of emerging for the last few years, but we can do more with it now. And harmonize to the new harmonic tones of the lotus of life and the crystal spiral activation in our solar system. So all in cosmic timing and harmony with your soul and soul mission, because everybody's going to do it kind of in different orders and in different ways. We're all each at different kind of stages, of it. Some things, we do for a little while, then we go back to a different stage. So it's not it's not anyway linear, and one person's is not better doing it better than anybody else. Um, Again, so it's based on your soul trajectory. So when ever I do meditations or energy work, I always wanted to align with your soul purpose, your soul mission, and that it serves you for your highest expression. Okay, so we talked about the wings of Asclepius several months back, probably over a year ago now. So this was shown to me um, in January 13, 2020, and they said the wings of Asclepius was damaged. So it's like the archetype. So first they said, yeah, Sammy said, and the autists, because it just definitely felt like a group consciousness coming through, that Asclepius, there was a man, and he represented the archetype of the healer. Hi, Luke. um, and he represented the archetype of the healer, and the left wing was cut. And I feel like just, that Enki, who, is a lot of people are talking about that he's back, and he's the progenitor god, that he has you know, the divine human blueprint, and he kept it safe, and things like that. So, um, and I know a lot of people follow Enki, and people listening to this on YouTube, some of you may have an issue with that. But this is what I feel. I never felt comfortable about Enki before I even knew anything. But anyway, so you look at the left wing, that has to do with the feminine, right? And when that wing being cut meant even our DNA. So there's DNA, we have genes that are encoded into us about being the self healer. Now, obviously, we heal, and we still have this other wing because we wouldn't be able to survive, if we didn't have that healing ability. When you're cut, it heals. When you get sick, you heal. So it's not that it's completely been absent, but our full potential to be self healers was not optimized. So it's this left wing being cut, like the wisdom, the inner wisdom of the Sophia, that mother aspect that is always there. And there are genes, for that. Um, and so uh, that means when the wing was cut, there was actually damage to our DNA, right? And if you think about it, right, Enki was around that time the Sumerian, known as a kind of a Sumerian god at that time. So that was, about 6,000 years ago. And, Atlantis happened before that, cataclysm. So humanity rises again. So then now why is it kind of coincide with that time frame when then it seemed like, we became denser and denser humans, than even probably during the time of Atlantis. We had probably had a lot more knowledge back then. So um, this is what happened. And now with this birth of the Sophia through Virgo, um, it seems we can really, the wings are repaired, the archetype wings, which would be on our 8D part of our light body, the eighth dimensional light body. And now we can even bring those genes back in. And Ophiuchus is important to enable that those genes to be repaired or reassembled. Why do we have junk DNA? That doesn't make any sense, right? We just threw them out and they're kind of just scattered around, as epigenetic material or whatever else. So that's my feeling about that. But that's what the Wings of Asclepius means. Oops. All right, come on, next slide. Okay, so Mars, one of our planets, if you remember when I was talking about my chart a little bit, that the planet Mars in astrology represents our physical body. It's our physical self. Well, it represents physical, your I am awareness, your self-awareness. But more than that, in the physical, I've really been feeling that this is even the bone structure, our literal structure of our body that holds us up. So if we think about it in terms of harmonics, that Mars plays a big role in the harmonics of the manifestation of our bone structure. And if you think about the mythologies around Mars, the god of war, aggressive masculine, those kinds of things, that aggressiveness it's associated with Mars. Again, my feeling that it's by design that our planetary systems were even inorganically kind of being held in kind of an energetic field that did not allow the true expression to come forward. So the harmonic tones of the bone matrix, and you might start to feel it in the skull and all your bones, but in the skull, because our skulls are important resonators that communicate with the cosmos, right? When we sit in silence and stillness, it's so that we can hear the cosmos in a sense. So it's like that silence is, quote, the sound of the heavens, or the sound of God, but it's in utter silence that we feel that. So you can imagine that when even from the bones were manipulated so that we can't hear the sounds of the cosmos, then makes it easier than to distort the human even further, so to speak. All right, so Venus, my understanding was that in the sidereal astrology group, and again, they're on Facebook. It's Sidereal Revolution, it's called, and they do monthly. Um, he does like a monthly gathering of what's coming up for the month, using the sidereal charts for like the full moons and the new moons and things like that. So anyway, he said that he was showing in their October presentation that in this solar eclipse this past Saturday, Venus was also in Virgo. So Venus was part of that. Interesting, right? The mother, the Virgo, the mother, and Virgo is a big constellation. It spans like, I think, like about a month and a half, 5 or 6 weeks. It's not like blocks of every 4 weeks, like the tropical is divided up to. Some of these constellations are big, and they span a bigger area, and Virgo is one of them. So since Monday, then I could feel Venus just bringing out a Sophianic tone, just sounds of Sophia emanating from Venus. So it'd be interesting because Sammy's chart, her Venus is in the first house. So that has to do, and again, the first house also has to do with self-awareness, your I am self. So I'll have to see how that plays out. So Pluto, and this is only one of its moons. It's Chiron. I don't know, it came out like a lima bean, but uh, Pluto in its harmonic tunes now, and is singing a tune of real transformation. So Pluto was in retrograde for several years, and I guess last week it just went what's non-retrograde? I'm losing my words. It just went direct. Yeah, that's the word. It just went direct. And when that happened, I mean, I could feel Sammy, her dark matter zygote, it just activated. And all kinds of things started to happen in her body. So we'll talk a little bit more about the dark matter zygote later. But right, Pluto is about transformation. And in that astrology book that I had, it said that described Pluto as to the alchemists, it's like black gold. So I thought that was very interesting. All right, so yeah, here's the dark matter zygote. And it was kind of like black gold. So what this means is uh, in dark matter, I've talked in the past about dark matter. When the egg and the sperm fertilize, that's your zygote. And it is then imprinted into dark matter. So I don't know if imprint is the right word, but it's like the mother then in its womb is holding your dark matter zygote, because it's from the dark matter that our body systems, the blueprint of our body systems is activated, and then it starts to manifest and start in the end. It starts to divide. So this is 8 cells. You can't see the eighth one in the back because they form like a kind of like a cube shape. So if you imagine this as a square, then there's another one underneath it. But that's when from the zygote, when cell division starts, and you may already know this, but I'm just going to say it again. So one cell splits into two cells splits into four cells splits into eight. And so then those 8 cells that some refer to as the egg of life, or some call it the 8 fetal cells or 8 immortal cells, they remain in your tailbone area. It's still there. So just quickly, I've talked about this number 9, the number of completion in the past. So this is where we have that completion of the 9 is when the dark matter zygote that imprints your that maintains that original blueprint of yours is still there. So with this cell and then these 8, that's what makes up 9. And the cosmos, the birthing of our universe, I don't know what the right word is, but that's what I was shown too, was that it follows that same pattern, like, the original first cosmic body, let's say, did a similar kind of thing. So it left an original imprint, and then it started to divide into these other cosmic bodies that we may, then eventually became our universe and things like that. So it does the same thing, and so we replicate that process in this way down to our cells. Now, there's been interference overlays on this dark matter zygote, um, so that we can't quite access it in the way that we need to, because this would be free, so to speak, of the damages of the environment and what happened to our cells. And so when we're replicating our cells in our body, renewing them, regenerating, it should be going back to the original. Right now it splits, makes a copy of itself, so it keeps making copies of itself from the same cell. So then if it gets damaged, it's making a copy of itself from a damaged one. And then some of them, become cancerous because they forget, after a while, after so many cell divisions. And I guess that's why we also age. But if we can access, if we're communicating with the original undamaged blueprint, then it should be continuously refreshing itself, so I feel like that's where we're heading. How long is that going to take for us to do all that? I don't know exactly. I'm sure it's probably at different rates for all of us. I'm older, so maybe for me, I can slow down my aging process, whether I'm going to completely reverse it, I don't know. But that would be nice. But anyway, for the younger kids, important for the autists and their embodiment process, I feel important and significant in that process. Okay, so getting to this now, this is something the autists also showed me. It was like 2020-ish, 2019, 2020-ish. And so, they wanted me to put Ophiuchus in, and each of these represents like the elements as we know it. And each of them is slightly different because, then as we'll see, each one has like a different alchemical law associated with it. So they're slightly different. different kind of these elemental substances that they radiate is a little different. So if you notice, there's the three spheres, right? Diamond sun, three spheres, diamond body. This is the Trinity, right? We're the Christos Sophia, the birth of the cosmic mother and the cosmic father. We are the expression of the Christos Sophia. We should have both, all of us should have both aspects. So now, Gemini, you know, in traditional astrology, right, has been like the twin, and you can describe it as being like opposites. But really, it means the union of the masculine and feminine, or positive and negative charge, proton and electron, all the way down to that subatomic particle level. It's that union of both. And so Ophiuchus is the neutralizer. It's the triune force, so to speak, because it's getting it from beyond our Milky Way galaxy. And so by this energy cord, you see, it means it's holding it together. If you look at the world that we lived in, it's been hard to maintain balance. We swing one way and then we swing the other way. Oh, now we went too far this way, we got to go back the other way. So then we make laws to counteract the other law. And it's crazy making, because it's hard to stay in balance. It's hard to stay in inner balance. So with Ophiuchus as the triune unifier and the 13th Zodiac, and that 13 is also the number of the mother, as some say. And, why did they make 13 as if it's like a black voodoo number? Why do they keep us away from the dark matter realms? It's because that's where the power is, and that's where, a lot of the secrets lie. So with Ophiuchus in the constellation system, it's holding everything in neutral balance. And so that we don't have to kind of expend energy trying to stay in balance, trying to clear and then clear again, and trying to clear and clear again, and staying in that neutral state. So we will be able to then continue to move forward. And as more of humanity is able to do this, then we can really, do the work of creating a heaven on earth, so that instead of expending energy on trying to stay healthy, trying to stay, in balance. I feel like this is an important diagram to keep handy, and it's from the Ascension Glossary of Physiology correlated to the galactic zodiac. And again, this is related to medical astrology, so you can read up a little bit on medical astrology. Obviously, traditional doctors, kind of poo-poo it. But they talk about these body systems and the constellations that are associated with it. And you can see that Ophiuchus, again, it plays an important role. And so last week, I was really feeling down the central vertical channel, Ophiuchus kind of radiating its energy through the perineum, and then to the dark matter zygote. And so when I felt Sammy's dark matter zygote activate, right, Pluto goes direct, and then that's what I saw. She was having a rough time. It was kind of in the middle of the night, and that's what I saw, was that dark matter zygote right there in that perineum area, activating, and Ophiuchus was like was coming down the central vertical channel. I don't know what the rays, the energy of Ophiuchus was coming down through that center. Other things that you might notice. So Capricorn is both knees. I was noticing one morning I woke up and my left knee, like I just went to bed. I wake up, my left knee is like a little swollen and I can barely walk. I was like, what? And I didn't do anything. And so it looked like the way the Capricorn operates, it was like a blocking kind of a flow uh, down my knee. So since then, it's gotten better. But this might be an interesting chart to keep handy. Now, this is different than the alchemical laws. And I think I'll talk about it. Oh yeah, it's on the next slide a little bit. So I'm not sure exactly how to describe what the differences are between the physiology correlated to the zodiac. This feels like, right, we reflect the macrocosm. Our bodies are like a reflection of the macrocosm. Our bodies are a universe in itself. And so these zodiac signs are associated with those body systems, body parts, because we are like the cosmos, and it's emanating through the cosmos, like this pattern of the body and the body systems. So yeah, so this is from the laws of the galactic zodiac cycle. I put the link in that long missive I did a couple of days ago that was public. We had the solar system image on it. But you can also go to www.ascensionglossary.com and you can search in the names. Now, that's another one that's, I think, good to kind of keep handy because it goes through some of these uh, alchemical laws. So my way of thinking of spiritual alchemy is uh, that how does a spirit become physical, in this realm, and come through layers and layers of a universe down to this denser level. And we're made of earth matter. And how does it activate that? How does it go through changes so that it's a spiritual body? And that's spiritual alchemy to me. Uh, how to change the quantum states of things and the macrocosmic states of things to hold a spirit and our soul in a physical body. So each of those galactic zodiac signs have uh, an alchemical law to it. So Lisa Renee wrote this of energetic synthesis. I think she downloaded the information, I think, in 2014. And so starting then in March of 2014, this process actually began, and so I think we've all been going through some of these stages because it's been there and it's been going on, but now it's coming really, really down to the physical. So the solar eclipse again was in Virgo. Oh, I should have put that in there. So this is the continue in Virgo. Virgo is the continual process of purification of the internal energies, which separate the unnecessary dross and is designed to remove the contaminants. The goal is to acquire a concentration of the holy natural essential substance which is how the pure energetic consciousness is distilled. This is the process of accessing and obtaining that pure essence via the inner spirit and distilling its spirit substance into our body and earth. This is a phase of refinement for our internal energies and spirit in relationship to our body. So you can look up the constellation Virgo there as well. Oh gosh, it's already almost 8 o'clock. Yeah, and anybody, if it's too late for you and you need to drop off, please feel free to do so, and you can watch the recording. I don't know. I was going to try and keep this quick today. So that's part of what is happening with this solar eclipse in Virgo. You may be feeling processes like that going on in your body at times. So the full moon coming up, I mean, yeah, in Aries on October 28th. So it's the alchemical theme of Aries, which is purification and calcination. So the last element in Virgo was earth, right? So now interesting that then it's fire. Fire is the next element. So you think about purification, fire purifies, but it also is like the alchemical of ignition, right? Be spiritualizing something. So the introduction stage of spiritual initiation represented in the constellation is Aries, beginning of the alchemical purification of one's consciousness through the process of exposure to fire elements, and they're applying intense heat. So breaking down into simpler substances to prepare to remove blockages and debris. An activation process of the Kundalini fire, purification of the flesh, bone, and blood. So again, kind of going back to that idea of Mars having been activated now to the bone structure, and now and also then the blood. This is it could be a very powerful full moon. So just an FYI. So it's like Kundalini activated in the tailbone, and again, tailbone, the fetal cells, dark matter zygote, all those, for me, all those kinds of themes are kind of coming to mind and what that's going to feel like. So if you feel your tailbone really like it's on fire and things happening in your body, starting to change, and uh, maybe pains in the body as things are being lifted out. It could be, physical toxic debris, emotions, mental body kinds of programs or programs and things like that. All of it, all those things are in flesh and bone in our bodies. So these cycles of the galactic, the alchemical laws, actually, we recycle through them as we go through these different stages. So it's recurring, it's recurring, it's recurring. So that's why, it's not just a one-time thing. We're going to continue to refine our clearing, refine the activations, and so to speak. Now, the tropical system, they say that uh, so the eclipse was in Libra, and the upcoming one is in Taurus. So, I feel like we're kind of still running both systems in a sense, because you can't completely take down the old phantom matrix, so to speak. And I don't think you want to, meaning like people that are trying to say, oh, they're just going to take it down. You're going to be battling up against these really big beings, and they can get really pissed off, and so you might get attacked. So I don't recommend doing that kind of thing. And even if you're participating in groups, oh yeah, we're going to take him down, we're going to take, uh you're going to get attacked. It's likely that you'll get attacked, and if you don't, then you have to ask, well, I don't did I am I did you get hijacked? And are far as that group hijacked, especially some of these really, really large groups uh, that are doing some of these large grid work projects. I don't know. It just makes me, I just feel cautious. And so how do we get out of it? We change our frequency. We have permission over our bodies, our souls, and what we can do for ourselves. We change and we, say, up, okay, thank you very much. Thank you for the lessons. I'm out of here. I'm exiting out. And you can do clearings for yourself and what you have permission, to do. So that's the safest way I feel to do that. And as I've learned, myself. Um, so anyway, just an FYI. Okay. Uh, the black tree of life, or this is what we call the 10 tree grid. And we're just kind of common sense wise to me, we're 12 dimensional avatars. We intersect with 12 dimensions. Why do we have a 10 tree grid? This means it's 10 dimensional. And this has been an overlay around the planet of these 10 tree grids. I don't know if anybody watched that movie Code 12. That's just came out on Amazon. And I was surprised they actually talked about it. It was a little Hollywoodized to me, but hey, they got into that a little bit in the second half, about the 10 tree grid and the Fibonacci being off, those kinds of things. At least that's what I picked up from it. So the correct grid is the 12 tree grid, our true tree of life. So we've worked with that before in the past as well. So harmonizing now with the lotus of life, right? And the crystal spiral, that it's the planets that are actually more playing a more active role in the manifestation of our physical bodies. So this is an exciting step. But anyway, I won't say much more about that right now. No, for time's sake. This is the lambda wave. I put a post in the Patreon page about this. This is total body consciousness. It's been hard to find. It's been very rare to find. They've only been able to, they discovered the lambda wave by studying some Tibetan Buddhist monks who had been meditating for a very, very long time. So this has to do with total body consciousness, whole body consciousness. And Sammy had shown me this a few years ago, and so this is what she seems to operate on, and that's why things come in so fast for her, and she's operating at that very high frequency. I was told to put this in theta body for the gold body, which is the human avatar blueprint. We are gold itself. The epsilon wave is kind of the lambda wave that piggybacks on the epsilon piggybacks on the lambda wave, but it's kind of slowed down so that it's a little easier going through our bodies, because our bodies are changing density, as you know, but it's not going to completely be not dense, so to speak. Otherwise, we would just become light bodies and we would just disappear. We wouldn't be on this plane. And the Tau wave, as I call it, it's the higher consciousness of Gaia. Our planet is part of our ascension. So she has changed. It's like she's changed her brainwave frequency to this different state, and so we have to adjust to that. I know this. I hope it's not too much for people. That we'll just kind of lightly activate it tonight. I think we'll just mention it, but so I'm bringing this in with Sam for Sam, so that she doesn't have to be operating on this lambda so much all the time. So that then when she wants to kind of be in that higher state of consciousness, she can, but more working more towards this, getting this lambda wave stabilized and kind of slowed down in her body. Okay, I think that's all of it. We'll get into the meditation. Yeah. Alrighty. So if you're ready, get into a comfortable position, and we're going to activate a field. Okay, so hope you all integrate with as much ease and grace, and thank you for your support. All right.